Hey, and welcome back to the All My Love Lucy podcast. This is episode number 30. It took us a while to get here, but here we are. We're back. We have taken a very extended break, but we are officially back, and we'll be back on a regular schedule starting today. So thanks for all your support and everyone who's reached out to us and asked, hey, are y'all still doing the podcast? There's been a lot of people who have reached out to us, and we're so glad that y'all are still interested in this story. So first of all, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in person in a while.
I know, it has been a while.
We went to the beach, but I haven't seen you since then.
I know, that was a really good trip.
Yeah, it was. We went down to the coast.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good time.
I've just been working ever since.
Me too. That's
Never
all
stops.
we've been. I know. That's what we've both been doing. We've been working so much, and it's been so hard to get our schedules together. And when she's available, I'm not available. When I'm available, she's not available. So it's just been one of those things. But here we are with episode number 30, letter number 30.
Yes, it's good to be back.
Very good. Very good to be back. We have a lot of really great information coming your way. And as I mentioned, if you saw the post on Facebook, I've read ahead a little bit, and Lucy's mood starts changing a little bit. She starts going into even greater detail with the things that are going on in her life as a civilian during the war. She starts going into some rations later on and like detailing. She's written everything out, and she goes into just a lot more detail of things. So I think y'all are going to be pleased, and it's going to be very interesting. So we hope that you'll stick around, and we'll have a uninterrupted reading of the letter at the end of the episode. As always, we're just out of practice a little bit. We haven't been here in a while, so we'll just get started. We'll jump right into the letter. So this is letter number 30, and I'm going to do it just a little bit different today, but this one is dated September 18th, 1944. And if you remember, I don't know if you have gone back, but the last episode that we did was Jimmy's birthday. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So it was September 12th. And this letter is dated September 18th. So that seems like maybe we might be missing a letter, because she's normally writing more frequently than that. That's 6 days. Mm-hmm. I feel like we might be missing a letter of hers here. So maybe not, but okay. So she goes into, my darling Jimmy, I do hope I hear from you tomorrow, as it is 10 days ago since I received your last letter. And I'm really worried at not hearing from my sweetheart, in case you may have been hurt. Oh, dearest, I feel so depressed because I have no news of you, and I miss you and long for your company so much. So I said her mood changes a little bit. I don't know, has she said anything about being depressed before? Has she mentioned that? Actually said.
I don't feel like I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know either. But now, so they've been apart since May. This is just September. So May, June, July, August, September. This is just 4 months later. But to her, I'm sure that feels like an eternity.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And then when you go 10 days without hearing from somebody, then your mind's going to start going to the worst. Mm-hmm. So, but we do know that Jimmy is in Belgium. He's still in Belgium. There's a lot going on over there. And I've got the book Key to Command. I've been reading some of this time period here, but I also wanted to talk about some of the news headlines that Lucy would have been seeing at this time. So I have them on my phone, so I'm going to look at them and read them. Going back, let's see. This would kind of set the mood for what she's expecting and what she may be thinking. So some of the major headlines and news themes during this month of September 1944. One of the news headlines, Allies push into Holland, Germans in retreat. So that would kind of give you some hope and some positivity to think the Germans are retreating. Another one, New German weapon strikes London. Rocket falls without warning. Now, this is that V2 bomb that is coming on the scene in September. Actually, September 8th was the first one, so it's already happened at the time of this letter. So the doodlebugs, we've talked about the doodlebugs a lot. They're still going on, but they're not as frequent. Now, this new V2 bomb is dropping. And have we talked about that? The fact that it's silent.
Yes.
So the doodlebug, the thing with the doodlebug is very terrorizing because it sounded like a motorcycle, a doodlebug motorcycle. They could hear it coming. And then when that motor shut off, that meant it was out of gas and it was going to drop to the ground, and they had like 12 seconds to take cover. So that was terrorizing. When they heard that coming, you're just sitting there thinking, or is it going to go off? The V2 bombs were just as destructive, maybe even more, but I guess the only, not positive thing, because it's not, a bomb's never a positive thing, but they couldn't hear it coming. Like, it was silent. So they weren't living in that constant hearing that noise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So September 8th was the first one of those. I want to make sure I'm telling you correct. Yeah, September 8th, the first V2 rocket attack on London occurred. They're supersonic rockets. They arrive with no air raid warning. It is a horrifying development, obviously, but at the same time, if you know what I mean? Like, think about it. If a bomb is going to drop on you, would you rather not know it's coming, or would you rather,
Yeah.
what would be more terrorizing? I'm not laughing like it's funny. I'm laughing because, like, it's absurd to think of, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just rather not know and it just happen and be over with,
Right.
instead of the anticipation of,
Right.
listening for that.
Right. You hear the motor go off, and then, in 12 seconds it's going to hit somebody.
Yeah, you have to scramble. You don't know which way to go,
Yeah.
where to hide, what to
Yeah.
do, where to take cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd rather just.
Yeah. If it's gonna drop, yeah. So it says the government keeps reports initially vague for security reasons, often referring to them as gas main explosions or enemy long-range bombardment. I guess that's to try to not cause so much panic within the public. But later in the month, newspapers cautiously acknowledged this new weapon, though censorship restricts technical details, which may explain why Lucy hasn't quite, I can't remember if it's this letter or not. She mentions it very soon, if not this letter. I can't remember. She mentions it really soon, the new V2. So that may explain why there's a little bit of a delay from her talking about it, because the newspapers were kind of not telling them what it was yet in the beginning. So that explains that. The V1 flying bombs, the doodlebugs, were still a menace to the southeast England. They were still terrorizing London. They had been since June. We talked about that they were just raining down on London for several months. By September, Allied advances in northern France and Belgium are capturing launch sites, and attacks are significantly reduced. So we know Jimmy's in Belgium. He's probably over there helping with the communications and taking part in helping them to get rid of those launch sites, I would guess. I've got to dig a little bit deeper into that. Another headline is Russia advances, Warsaw struggles on. The Warsaw Uprising, which was August through October of 1944, is ongoing, and British papers carry grim, sympathetic reports of Polish resistance fighting against the Germans. And then Italy, there's some about Italy. And London life continues despite new threats. Homefront news focuses on morale, rationing updates, and rebuilding efforts. And so we'll hear, like I said, we'll hear Lucy talking about the rations here in the next several letters, and she starts talking about that and really detailing it and telling, like, how many eggs she gets, how many ration coupons. Like, remember we talked about that, and how clothing, you can take like 11 coupons to get a new dress or a new coat or something. So she's going to detail that soon, which I find is very interesting to think about all of that. All right, so she goes on to say, there is not much to tell you since I wrote you on Tuesday. So, Tuesday, I wonder how many days that is. Let's look. Yeah. That was the last one.
So we're not missing a letter.
Guess not.
It's amazing how he kept up with all of these letters.
I know. It really is.
And they're like in perfect condition.
I know.
And he was over there
fighting
in a war, and he kept every single one of these.
I know. It's amazing.
It is.
And I can't understand where some of his are because she was so meticulous about things. I just wonder if somehow in her moving and in her rush to get over here, she must have just either lost them or maybe they got damaged or destroyed in the move over here, like on the boat or whatever. I don't know.
There's no telling.
Yeah, but we do have some of his letters are coming up soon, so that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say as much, like he's not as detailed as her, and he kind of repeats himself and says some of the same things each time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a man. Men just don't give the detail. They don't use as many words
right
as women do, and they don't describe things as detailed as. And he probably couldn't say a lot either.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't give a lot of information to her. So, all right. So she says, there's not much to tell you since I wrote you on Tuesday when I was fire watching. My sister came to see me on Wednesday, and on Thursday, Muriel called in. And so I looked it up, and Tuesday would have been 6 days before this because the 18th was on a Monday. So I guess she did just take a break from writing him because she was writing him like every couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. She's really busy though. She's got a lot going on. She's working late. She's doing a lot. And so Muriel, I've still had no luck with Muriel. I can't find her. But I did. Did I tell you that I found her mother or great grandmother's gravesite? Did I tell you that?
I don't think. Did you?
I think I did. Did I?
You might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little while ago.
My friend Derek, he actually found it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We have searched and searched and searched forever. I keep hitting a wall. I even talked to someone there in London, and they could not find the records for that time period. And I'm not going to get into all that right now, but the person that was actually in London that was over like the records that I would need to be looking for, he could not find anything, and they were missing for the time period that she was buried in. And so I kept hitting this wall, and the best they could do was give me the cemetery, and told us that we would just have to go out there and like search through, and there's like thousands of graves in the cemetery. So obviously we couldn't do that on our last trip, and obviously we're not going to do that on our next trip. So it was kind of one of those things where I really didn't think we'd ever find it. Mm-hmm. And so my friend Derek, he was like trying to help find some puzzle pieces, and he just found it.
Well, that is just amazing.
I know. He sent it to me. I was like, no way. Yeah. So that's really cool. But fire watching, we've talked a lot about fire watching. It still amazes me that she did that she was a part of that. So we've talked about fire watching, and I pulled up some more information, and I'm having to use my phone tonight because my laptop crashed is what you can call it, because I couldn't get back into it. And I had already taken all the notes for tonight and done all that, and I can't get to them. So I'm having to rely on my phone, which I guess I should have sent a copy of it to my phone, but I didn't. So, in 1944, in September of 1944, the role of the fire watchers was still going on, as evidenced here by Lucy. She was still having to do that. And we talked about the rotation of, you would, in your neighborhood, if you're civilian, you would just rotate. You had to have a partner, and you would rotate schedules within your neighborhood to be on that guard. You'd have to learn how to handle the bombs and take care of them if you came across them, put out fires from the incendiary bombs, all of that. And I found this. This is pretty neat. This was an example scenario. A typical night in London, September 1944, for the fire guards or fire watchers. So I thought this was interesting. It says, a pair of fire guards huddle on the roof of an office block near Holborn. I may not be saying that right, but coats pulled tight against the wind, the distant thud of anti-aircraft guns still sounds from the south. Suddenly, the sky to the east flashes, a dull red bloom. One of them notes the direction and telephones the ARP post. Possible impact near Hackney. Minutes later, they scan the horizon again. No siren, no warning, perhaps a rocket. They wait in silence, smoke curling from a tin mug of tea, eyes searching the darkness for any sign of fire. So,
Wow.
I guess they would just watch, and then they would make sure if they saw a bomb or they saw one drop or something, they would make the phone call to make sure somebody was aware.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just that they were watching for right there in their neighborhood. I guess she was up on the roof or, at a high point. So,
Yeah.
and she talks often about having tea or, when she's fire watching. So that just gave me a visual. She goes on to say, yesterday I spent with Muriel at her home, and all the time I was thinking of my darling, wondering how you are. Well, darling, I can only hope the delay in your letters is due to the fact that you're very busy with the fighting, and I can only keep asking God to protect you and keep you safe always. And going back to Muriel, I so wish that we had an address for her or some significant piece of information to try to find her.
I know, me too.
Because I would really, really love to know if she had children, if she has any descendants that are still living. That would be really, really fun to connect. Because, Marion, her friend, we've connected with one of her great nephews. And he's the one that sent me those pictures of her when she was young and all that. So that was really awesome. Okay, she goes on to say, you don't know how happy and relieved I shall be to get your next letter because I'm so anxious about my darling. With all my love to the dearest man in the whole world, from your Lucy. So we continue on this journey with Lucy and Jimmy as they detail their life and what's going on with them and their longing for one another during this time period when they're apart. Again, this is September of 1944. They've been apart since May of 1944, and they will still be apart for another year and a half. They don't reunite until April of 1946, and we have letters to cover that whole entire time period. Are you excited about getting into some of these?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, there's a lot. This story I feel like we're just scratching the surface of their story and just scratching the surface, even though we really have found out a lot of information over the past.
Right,
so.
Yeah. And again, it's really great to be back. We're so glad that you guys have joined us, and just make sure to keep an eye out for our next episodes. And
This will be on Thursdays.
That's right. Give us a like, follow, all the things.
Subscribe and
Yeah.
and we're trying to get, I've been really I've been kind of slacking on getting up on Spotify, but I'm going to try to get the episodes caught up on Spotify soon. So, but that's more of I think first time listeners maybe start there, but But yeah, so we're on YouTube. Right now we're on YouTube and Spotify. And so as far as our social media, we have Facebook and we have Instagram. So just keep up with us, and we have our email.
Oh,
too.
yeah, that's right.
So
allmylovelucy@gmail.com.
Yep. So feel free to email us with any questions or anything like that. So next time, also, Lucy tells us she finally hears back from Jimmy. So that's exciting. She's glad. And then she tells us a little bit about a time that she visited Belgium, where he is now in a city called Bruges. So if you know anything about Bruges, audience participation, if you know anything about that, we would love your input, or if you've traveled there before or anything like that. Even if you haven't gone to Bruges, just anywhere in Belgium, if you've gone there before, we'd love to hear about it. Leave us some comments and tell us your experience there. We'd love to hear it. So as promised, we're going to have an uninterrupted reading of this letter. So until next time, enjoy. September 18th, 1944. My darling Jimmy, I do hope I hear from you tomorrow, as it is 10 days ago since I received your last letter, and I'm really worried at not hearing from my sweetheart, in case you may have been hurt. Oh dearest, I feel so depressed because I have no news of you, and I miss you and long for your company so much. There's not much to tell you since I wrote you on Tuesday when I was fire watching. My sister came to see me on Wednesday, and on Thursday Muriel called in. Yesterday I spent with Muriel at her home, and all the time I was thinking of my darling, wondering how you are. Well, darling, I can only hope the delay in your letters is due to the fact that you're very busy with the fighting, and I can only keep asking God to protect you and keep you safe always. You don't know how happy and relieved I shall be to get your next letter, because I'm so anxious about my darling. With all my love to the dearest man in the world, from your Lucy. If you're hearing this, then you've watched the entire episode, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We truly hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll return for the next episode of the All My Love Lucy podcast.